playing the end of it. I think we're partly an educational program, so people need to know.
People need to know about Sherrill Milnes.
This is a live recording of Rigoletto in 1979 at the Met, recorded, I think, illegally under someone's seat, posted by...
Holy shit.
Alright, do you know the 71 studio album with Pav and Sutherland?
Yeah.
So he does it at the end of that.
Yeah.
And I just assumed, oh, that's cute for the recording. I forgot he was the Lord.
Forgot who he was. The Lord. Dude.
I don't know, to hear him do that live is pretty freaky.
No, I when you said that it was live and it was the B flat, I was like, no way.
Yeah, no, but everything is the length of time that he holds out the A flats, the duets, and there's two. I guess this is an example, but also there's one. I think it's also the I Love Milnes and opera page, but it's like some documentary from his performance at, I think, Verona in '81. And at the end of that, it's like 13 minutes and 21 seconds long. Actually, we can clip the
I'll put that
videos. But it's terrifying. And also, it has lore in our fake opera mafia storyline.
Oh yeah, the fake opera mafia.
I don't know if it's appropriate to go into that. I mean, it's pretty dirty.
Maybe not.
Basically, what you need to know is that Tito Ruffo is the Don, and that his replacement was Bastianini, but tragically died before he could take over as Kingpin. Also, do you need to fix your toilet?
I do. I was.
Don't edit this out.
I was like.
Well, basically, what you need to know is there was a snowy day in North Dakota where I invented a whole storyline of opera singers actually being part of the mob, like every Italian opera singer, and it got pretty wild. There were murders involved, there were sex scandals involved, and we're not going to go into all of them. But what you need to know is that Ruffo is the Don.
That's right.
And we're not actually sure who took over after his passing.
But yeah.
In fact, we extended his life so that the Bastianini story could be included.
That's right. Yeah, we're not really sure who's in charge right now. But just know that there is a mafia in charge.
Yeah. There's an Italian mafia.
I hope it's the Italians, but I don't know. I can't be sure. But mafia is an Italian word, so
I don't know who. All right, but like realistically, who would the Italian, like right now? Who's the top Italian singer in the world right now?
Grigolo maybe.
Pretty close.
Grigolo.
Grigolo.
It's
Grigolo.
It's a Grigolo. Get it right. It's Grigolo. I don't know who the best is. It escapes me.
Soprano wise. No, I feel like recently the big stars that we see at the Met are not like Davidson has made the biggest splash recently.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know.
Nicole Carr is my favorite lyric soprano I've heard there recently.
There was a soprano, the soprano who sang in Rigoletto was really good.
Rosa.
Yeah.
Theo something. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Honestly, Nadine Sierra is probably the best at singing the Italian stuff right now.
Yeah. I don't know.
Hard to know. All right, baritone wise, well, Riccinski and Tezier are not Italian.
Nope, they are non-Italian baritones. What about the guy who was in Figaro, the Count?
No, Czech Republic.
That's right. He's not Italian. I don't know why I thought that.
I hope we get to see him do the Verdi and stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because, did I tell you there's a video of him doing the father's song from My Fair Lady.
Oh.
And he goes up for a high G at the end.
No way.
It's really good. It's really
Left remembering. That's what when I think back to the show. That's what I think. I think of like.
McKinney was Figaro.
McKinney's anabolism.
McKinney was Figaro. Pacheco was the Count. Leonard was Carabino. Golda Schutz.
I think Schutz
was Count. She was great. Her arias were especially good.
Yeah, they were really beautiful.
Actually, they were stronger than her ensemble pieces, I thought.
Yeah.
When we saw it. And the Susanna is not to be named.
The Susanna was interesting, though, because...
It was interesting. It was actually a huge voice.
It was a huge voice.
Secretly.
It was like a huge voice singing oddly. I'll say that much. It was not...
It was weird.
It was a strange technique, but there was a big voice. Yeah. I mean, it made a lot of sound. It was odd. It was just like, I don't know how to describe it. It just sounded like airy, but also like big. It was like big. It was like airy, fluttery, but also huge.
To the point that actually, whatever her voice type is, we both talked about that already. Right?
Yeah, it's like this could actually be a dramatic soprano just singing oddly.
And by odd, we mean like shit.
It was bad. It was. I feel bad, but it really was. It was just like, what is going on there? But it was like
you could definitely.
You could always hear it. It was never a problem.
Well, you can definitely hear how someone would sit there like in an audition setting, say for like an agency or someone who's casting things, and be like, wow, this is a good voice. Because actually the instrument is really good.
It is a good voice.
And like you said, it's big. So
like
wonky but big.
Yeah.
Have you seen Davidson live?
No, I want to so bad.
All right, we will do that eventually. I'm sure she's coming back. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Every year, probably for the next 10 years.
She will be.
Dude, I don't know if I've seen anything at the Met since. No, I haven't. Because I was gone, and I don't really want to go back.
I saw Sonia Yonche. No.
Oh, you did? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you told me you were going to. Oh wait, you didn't unload about that.
So
you sent me an ominous text.
I mean, it just seemed as if she couldn't be bothered to learn her music. She was like on this score. Malcolm Martineau is amazing.
She used to do a score the whole time.
The whole time, except for a couple arias. She sang like 2 arias as encores. Those were really good. That was when I was like, oh, I understand now.
What was the other stuff she sang?
Really standard. She sang like Extase by Duparc, Chanson triste, and yeah, I think it was just those 2. I don't think or there may be one more Duparc song, but it wasn't Fidele.
Okay.
But it's Extase, Chanson triste. She sang a couple Tosti songs. And in the Tosti songs, I was like there's like Ideale, and I think
she sang Ideale?
Yeah.
No.
I know. It's just like it's like the tenor national, the undergrad tenor national anthem is Ideale by Tosti, and I was just like, that's just not how you sing it. And I
was it
just the artistic choices.
Okay. Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, like, it's now there's something to be said, like the way, maybe not technically, but the way you sing opera versus the way you sing art song, like there's some discussion there. Like it could, like I don't think it should be maybe exactly the same. Like it should be the same technique, but like I think in art song you have license to use more colors. Like you can use pianissimo. You can explore all the dynamics and colors of your voice, but it should never be to the point where it's like you can't hear it, and you have to also consider where you are. It's like, just the idea of having a recital in the biggest opera house in the world just seems kind of like wrong. Like, in my opinion, I think a recital hall should be intimate, Yeah. Even if it's like a Jesse Norman, I was just thinking of like someone who sings art song and opera very well, Jesse Norman, or who did. It's like, I know you don't necessarily like her. I really like Jesse Norman.
It's honestly, I feel like it's the more the artistic choices than anything else.
Yeah. And that's like, subjective.
It is, but I mean, if any of you want to hear Jesse go after Mon Coeur, and if you like that musically, like you can write to me and tell me why, but I wanted to throw my computer screen.
Okay, well, that's just... This is like... this is maybe the only thing we disagree on is Jesse Norman. I love it.
I don't actually know enough about her singing German stuff that I think kind of made her what she was.
Yeah.
And probably because I just am not that curious about art song singing, so I just never really go into it. That's not true. It's not even true. It's whenever art song gets paired with orchestra, I don't know, there's something about it that I don't like.
I think I hear that. I think, but it depends on the composer. So I think when you hear a Strauss art song orchestrated, it actually gets maybe better. But not every composer's like that.
Nothing pisses me off more than, I think is it a Thomas Allen recording where they orchestrate Errol Koenig?
Oh, I hate that.
Oh God.
Yeah. No, it's Schubert.
But the thing is that it is so percussive. It's like
it needs a...
But signore!
I know. Yeah, I would not... That would be hard to sing with an orchestra.
Also, I do feel... I mean, I listened to it a couple times. No, art song singing is really unique, and I feel like it's also voice type dependent. Like, actually, bigger voiced women do really well with it the same way that lighter voiced women do, I find. I think the art song repertoire is diverse enough to support all voice types in that way. But, dude, big voice men doing it, other than Ravel, because he had a unique ability to kind of float, so he can do it decently well. And also, speaking of wonky-ish singing, I think some of the wonkiness that started to bleed more and more into his operatic singing actually allowed for art song mastery, and in the same way that Hampson's a lighter voice, but wonky things that Hampson does also, I think, probably where it made the operatic singing less likable for us anyway. It made the art song singing more likable.
It's a good example. It's like there's the recording with Martineau and Rin Terfel doing Vaughan Williams songs.
Oh, I mean,
it's like, oh my God, this is so great. But
also some of his art song albums are when he is like the Terfel that we love.
Yeah, prime Terfel.
Prime Zalame Terfel.
Yeah, that is,
and Figaro Terfel, 98.
Yeah. That like kind of mid 90s, late 90s.
Late 90s.
Yeah. And
Colossus.
Yeah. But there's some stuff he does in that like artistically and vocally, like that's the thing though. It's like when you make choices, it's like people are gonna love him or hate him, and it's like if I tried to do that, like and I think it's like the second verse of the Vagabond, he's like, "Give to me the life."
Oh right, yeah.
And it's like I know what that sound is, but I love it. Like I love the way that is.
Like his voice is also so beautiful that it can do that and not suffer. It also doesn't suffer in terms of intonation, really, with him.
No, it's perfect. But it's just like I hear that, and it's like that kind of pianissimo hollowness in his voice, and part of me is like, no, yeah, it's gotta be it. But like but at the same time, I hear that, and I'm like, God, that is captivating.
Yeah.
That is like,
yeah.
Oh my God! Like imagine being in the room with him when he did that.
Right.
Like you would have been like.
There is video evidence of him doing that in an opera. In De Vieni alla Finestra, he does that. I think pretty successfully, if I remember right.
De vieni alla finestra, con mio tesoro, de vieni a consol, il pianto mio.
Brain turtle.
Do you know when he was young? I don't know where I read this, but I saw that he actually sang a Ford at I think Scottish National Opera. This is like not that long after Cardiff.
Wow. Ford.
Yeah.
That's a massive Ford.
If he was good at it, which I actually doubt, not because I think that he's bad by any stretch, especially at that time. But if he rocked it, that would have been something to really hear.
Yeah.
I can imagine that high G from his throat.
Yeah.
If it was awesome. You have to think that there was at least one night where it was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
At least. Another singer... Oh, okay. So, like, I think I already said what I wanted to say about women being very successful in terms of art song across voice types, in my opinion. Like I love listening to women sing art songs, like in a legit operatic way.
Yeah.
I think it comes off really well. Something about the timbre, where it sits relative to the piano, I think it works super well, and again, the diversity of repertoire kind of allows for the diversity of voices. I've heard a lot of terrible art song, and I think when it works best, it's a lighter version of a given voice type that has a unique color that sings operatically. That is my taste. So like, when Thomas Allen sings art songs, I think they're pretty much across the board perfect. Hermann Price singing it, I think it's pretty much perfect. Yep. Maybe I only like lyric baritones. Kaufman doing Schubert, I think is...
I love it, dude.
I love it too.
I love it, dude. Hearing him do Winterreise was just like...
Oh, for me, my favorite thing for him is Schönmuller.
Yeah. I mean, that's amazing too.
Because something about that story, I want to hear a tenor doing it more.
Yeah. I know.
I don't know. It could be, or I'm not going to say that.
Winterreise is, I mean, it is lower. Like,
I want to hear a baritone do that.
Yeah,
I don't want to hear a bass or bass baritone.
Yeah.
I can maybe accept a tenor.
Yeah.
This is totally subjective.
No.
Probably influenced by recordings.
Yeah, no, but that's
Thomas Allen doing. There's the Winterreise is awesome, but if you guys look up, we can link it too. I think it still exists on YouTube. Thomas Allen doing the Ravel Don Quixotes.
I was just about to bring that up, actually.
So beautiful. And then also, sorry, I just thought of another example of a singer. Highest version of bass baritone, Jose Van Damme, singing the Ibert Don Quixotes, and then a whole host of French art song. That's really good. I think it's more satisfying than Souzay because there is still kind of an operatic sound, so you don't get that open middle voice sound.
Yeah, that's one thing with Souzay is like I've come to associate that with good like lyric baritone French art song because he recorded all of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's the way he sings is sort of not operatic in the registration, and and to my ears, I mean, I love Souzay, but to my ears, it's like it kind of gets a little high, like maybe laryngally, and maybe there's this sort of just there's not much of a turn.
No, he takes middle voice pretty much all the way up.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it sounds like to me, or maybe he does turn, but the laryngeal position is not maintained.
Right.
I assume.
Maybe so I think there's several things that go into I'm willing to admit it could be a faulty opinion of males being not as satisfying in art songs. One is actually this top voice issue, which is more pronounced in men. So it's like
you mean like the like
the change from middle to top voice is like inherently dramatic. I feel like past the point of what art song is asking for.
Yeah, it's so much of a transition that it is like it can be jarring, and it comes out of context.
Like Vorostovsky doing Mahler.
Oh yeah,
which is the great. I don't care what you say, Niels Neubert. It's better than. Damn it! Was the famous German baritone? Can you wax on poetically about the Vorostovsky real quick while I find the baritone?
It's perfect.
It's Lieder des fahrenden Gesellen. Lieder des fahrenden Gesellen.
Yeah.
I believe that's how you say it.
Yeah, I will absolutely link that. It's just goodness gracious. Yeah, no, it's really something. There's legato, beautiful, like from top to bottom, just as seamless.
And his pianist is also pretty damn good.
Yeah,
too.
that's true.
But the reason that I like it so much is because even though by the way, Matthias Gerna, incredible art song singer, even though the reason I like it so much is because though his German lacks in a certain way, he seems to, and his pianist seem to have a deep understanding of the music and tonality, and where to lean in, where to pull away, where to be dramatic, based on the actual musical writing of Mahler, but also the text, which is about as pressing and dramatic as Wertherian as you could hope for.
Yeah.
No, it's special. And he's good looking. It's 97. He's wearing a tux.
It's hard to discount that. When a man looks and sounds very good on stage.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I there's something about the
Metternich.
What?
Josef Metternich.
Metternich.
That's the dude that our former professor Niels Neubert. I sent him to Vorostovsky, and he goes, you should try Metternich. I'm like, all right, it's good. It's really good. It's really good. But, dude, DMITRI up there, like,
yeah, just stating this,
just making this.
Yeah, it's just like constant.
And he's such a high lyric voice that I think he sings G's and A flats in that thing.
Oh yeah.
Perfectly, by the way.
Yeah, perfectly with no herky jerky bullcrap. Like perfectly, completely legato.
You mean like what?
What we do? Yeah, what I do?
Oh, no.
No, it's. I mean, but that's the thing. It's like I think that's exactly what we're touching on. It's like the first thing we started with the king of herky jerky, freaking Sherrill Milnes, going, and it's like hada ho. It's like, you know, we have a whole video on hooks you can check out.
Speaking of art song, he hosts art song recitals that you can listen to.
They're also actually really good.
They're
too.
really good.
They're really good.
At the same time, I don't like them nearly as much as like I still am like, this is the best singer ever, but I hate what he's doing right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
the best part of his art song recitals is when he sings the Don Carlo and the Nemico della Patria. It's like, oh, there we go.
Yeah, that's like
and Fincandolino, which is, dude.
Yeah.
And also, is just lingering in the back of my mind, there is a recording of Sam Raimi singing an art song recital with Warren Jones. Now, again, I think Sam Raimi is maybe the best singer of his voice type ever, and like with such distance between him and the second place guy that it's not even that it's hard to justify listening to anyone else in any role that he ever recorded. But I am telling you, it's one of the worst
I remember this one.
I've ever. But it sounds like, you know, the Raimi operatic tone in the context of like Copland songs, like ching-a-ling-a-ling, ching-ching, ho-ding-a-marky, except it's like
we can't even imitate it. We can't even begin. It's like that man's voice. It was.
I think I started calling him the incinerator.
Yeah, incinerator. That's a great way to say it. I call him the blender because it sounds like this tube, like this big, dark blender, and at the bottom, someone just threw a bunch of like nuts and bolts and screws in, and just like it's just like it's like the loudest. What's the loudest thing you've ever heard? Like just like that's Samuel Raimi.
Yeah.
And just metal in a well of just the longest neck you ever. I've got a pretty long neck, but that guy was just a blender, incinerator, God. Anyway, but like, yeah, no, there's.
Rolling along.
Dude,
that's
it's inhuman.
It is. It's
the
really
column that man achieved.
But what he was able to sustain.
No, it's not.
So.
It is not to be believed. But like, yeah, like there's something about like. This actually. Wait, sorry. I gotta say, there's something about like. So Emilio talks about this too. Emilio is.
No, we're definitely getting canceled now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. But Emilio is a very good art song and opera singer. But he himself admits that he enjoys art song more than opera.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and the way he sings is like the way he can sing and phonate is so free and so elegant that he can achieve all these amazing colors and dynamics in his voice, and but I don't think he has, you know, he is not like I think he would call himself a Mozart tenor.
Yeah.
But it's like so it's like maybe there's some voice type implication there.
Yeah.
Of like having but I really don't think it's a light voice.
Well, you want
like,
a speaky quality to the sound in art song, because it is like a poetic reading.
Yeah, it is. The text is,
which is probably why
actually maybe a little more important than an opera.
Yeah, it replaces the vocal fireworks show and musicality of opera for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think let me do something that I never do, and give Ian Bostridge some credit here. I think if there's something that
sorry, that was it. Didn't need to.
I feel like the quality that actually does make much of what he has recorded and performed pleasing is that he is singing, I think, in the mode that he can communicate best in, which is art song. And it's for the very reason that he does not need the vocal fireworks show at all in the art songs that he does. But what he needs more than anything is the ability to like actually speak almost as if it was a monologue. And he's very musical too. So but it does.
But is it singing? But like that's the thing.
Trying
is that
to
a
be my own
technique?
devil's advocate here for a second.
I yeah, but that's the thing, man. It's like that's the thing. It's like
did he just compliment Bostridge?
I know.
Too much caffeine.
But to go to, I maybe have, but it's like there's. Yeah, if you pick art song and just go the art song route, and maybe you really do have a voice that is better suited to art song. It's, you either need to be like Emilio and have an extremely refined, detailed, elegant technique and voice and everything, or you can kind of croon it and kind of make up the technique.
Yeah.
And then kind of like basically undersing.
I don't want to disregard that though. It's like I think if indeed an art song should be performed in a more intimate setting, and the requirements of really like kind of zapping the back of a hall are not as present, then as long as the intonation is like not way off, I think a croon is okay. I think a non-operatic sound is okay, or I should say a sound that wouldn't work in opera but is still classical.
Yeah, no, okay, absolutely. Like I would not want to hear. It's like the same thing we're talking about RAMEY. It's like when RAMEY goes full tilt, it's like, oh my God, maybe
Please shut up.
Please, let's put this guy in the biggest hall we can so we can be as far away as we can from this absolute incinerator. But like in an intimate recital setting, it's like, yeah, I would want to hear like Der Lindenbaum sung at like
By not Sam Raimi.
By not Sam Raimi. What else?
Or Sherrill Milnes, really, for that matter.
I wouldn't. Yeah, even though
Because
they're two of our favorite best singers ever. It's just like Der Lindenbaum is like, it's so touching and intimate, and it's like you need like
speaker. You need a speaker, man.
Yeah, and it's got to be like mezzo piano to mezzo forte, pretty much the whole time.
I'm purposefully not including Fischer-Dieskau in this discussion.
Yeah, and it was like only a matter of time before DFD came up.
Let's drop. I actually am pissed that my rant that our rant went the route of art song. One thing.
It is my fault.
One thing to mention before we move on from art songs.
It's because of Sonia Yoncheva. It's because of the recital.
That's right.
The Met. It's
That's
the Met's
right.
fault. We can blame anything on the Met.
Yeah. Well, I used to be against that, but I'm totally for it.
No, thanks.
Like, as of the last couple of years.
Blame it on the Met.
Yeah, blame it on the Met, guys. Like, I know,
things not working out for you? Blame it on the Met.
I know it used to be again. I used to think it was total, like, just like resentment, but now, no. It might still be resentment, but there's also now more truth in that than ever before. You can blame it on the Met, baby.
Blame it on the Met.
What was I going to say? One more thing. I have one more thing to... Oh, any Italian art song should be axed from the conversation we had and placed separately and says, you should sing this like opera and perhaps even louder. And that's the only way to sing an Italian art song.
Oh, yeah. the Delmonico interview.
You can't. You know what? It's a time for a
There's a
glitz, Terry.
reason. There's a reason why Italian art song, or I guess really Neapolitan songs, we should say. There's a reason that Neapolitan songs usually save to the end of the recital, because after the Neapolitan songs, like, that might...
Hay alguien como tú.
Your voice might be done after...
You can't sing a high note
Oh,
unless you're
God.
wearing a red sweater and you got your hand tucked behind your back.
You literally... If you're not thrusting your hand up and back...
No,
then
you're not actually an opera singer. You're not an opera singer.
Watch that hand.
You're not an opera singer unless you're wearing a red sweatshirt with your hand here. That's all we know.
Dude.
That's technique. You wanted us to talk about technique? We're talking about it. Put on a red shirt. Oh, it's not up actually, but I think it's coming back up. There we go. There we go. Alright, actually the hand was up less than I thought, but I think through the whole 6-minute performance it does
We're
have its
gonna...
moments.
There will be a montage of hands going up, because I'm convinced like the rear delt is a synergist muscle with the soft palate, because it's just like it gets you up there, man.
Yeah, the rear delt is connected to the soft palate.
Somehow this motion.
Actually, what you should do, you should like attach whichever hand is your preferred hand. You should attach a bungee cord and hook it onto your costume, so that every time you have to sing a high note, you can just contract that rear delt. Ah! It's like, listen, the belt around the stomach, that's outdated. It's the rear delt pullback now. That's what we've graduated to.
The rear delt costume band.
Yeah.
No, forget about the girdle. No.
Imagine walking into the costume ladies workshop and be like, hey, listen, have a little issue. What is it? Feet, back hurt? Like what? You need more space to breathe? No, I need a resistance band on the inside of my costume, so that every time I can sing a high note, I actually can do. Is that okay, Brenda? Are we good?
I don't know, something about art songs.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't had time to think about that since our last take finished. You know what, though? You know what I think might be one of the reasons I like women hearing women sing art song is because, in addition to the things I said earlier, which had to do with the wide range of rep, being able to accommodate a wide range of voices.
Yeah.
Also, the part about art song that I articulated about men, that it articulated in general, but now I think applies maybe more specifically to men, because of the chesty sound that we produce when we sing, is that because of the timbre of women's voices in the middle and the high being similar, you can transport musically. You can still maintain the music and the actual sound of voice as being central to the art song.
Yeah.
As you would an opera. But there's something about when men do that. Oh, they can do it too. They can do it too. But why is it not? Why is it not the same? Why is it different? What is this thing? Why is Sam Raimi doing it sound terrible?
I don't know.
I also didn't sing with much emotion in those pieces. I will say that.
Yeah, and that's. I mean, it's like. Well, I mean, okay. I think it has to do with the literal level of mass and the vibration, the register, from bottom to top, and how for men, while there's in male operatic singing, unless you're a countertenor, there's chest voice in pretty much everything you sing, even at the very top. Even if it might have more head voice, I mean, it's still full on adduction the whole time. And, and I think that at a certain point, it's like that big passaggio shift that can happen. It's like, obviously we try to iron that out as much as we can.
Yeah.
But I think there's just physical properties of the male voice that is harder to it's harder to have dynamics throughout the full range of the voice.
Yeah.
And the timbre changes, I think, more
Do you think
drastically
also
too.
The clash with the piano plays into this too?
Like harmonically, like harmonics as in or I guess the pitch at which the men sing versus that pitch of women sing. Yeah, I think that might have something to do with it too.
And then also some of the traditionally inherited staple art songs that men have to sing are more speaky, which might say something inherently about the male singing voice being more declamatory. I feel safe saying that too.
Well, I think it could be because men.
So the chesty quality of a man singing has influenced the composers over time in such a way that they want to write more declamatory things.
Yeah.
For the male voice, subconsciously, I would even argue.
Yeah.
Otello is a pretty good example.
Yeah.
I think the Iago and Otello definitely are declaiming more than Desdemona. Now, part of it is also to set the characters in their own realm musically.
Yeah.
But I think there's a reason. I don't know the opera Macbeth well enough to remember what Lady Macbeth sings like relative to Macbeth himself.
I don't know. But I will say it's the register, men speak and sing in classical music, men speak and sing in the same register. Women don't do that. Now they do sing in chest voice occasionally, but it's
often not, right?
Often not.
Right.
And so I think that the declamatory part of it is that we sing in the same register in which we speak. Women don't, so they have a more maybe ethereal quality of their voice, which also maybe lends to the vocal writing.
And somehow, yes. And somehow, when a composer does decide to set a woman's voice in a declamatory way, it's extremely dramatic.
Yes.
I'm thinking, I actually don't know how true that statement is, because I was actually thinking of an example, and I wanted to set up the example, which is the La Mama Morta part, which is like, it's like, that is like, oh, it was, I don't know, if some reason when I listen to that part, I don't know I know generally what the aria is about, but I don't know what the specific words are, but that part always knocks me back in my heels, unless it's done slowly. But that Callous live recording,
oh,
probably the best ever
huge
version.
chest voice.
But just in terms of the musicality she has with it, and the who was it, Callous or the conductor? It doesn't really matter. It was genius whoever came up with that. But it's so it's super powerful because of how declamatory it is.
Yeah.
But it isn't the best part of female singing. Or I should say, it is not the aesthetic of female singing that you can carry for long stretches of time without wanting something else as a listener. Because they have that ethereal quality
right.
in the middle and the top, and when they're singing lines like, "I want that, please give it to me, let me have it."
Wow, now we might be entering into a philosophical realm.
We are. This is it's like aesthetics.
Aesthetics, but like legit, it's like there's something to, but like. Oh gosh, are we just gonna do no? But like, there's something to like. Oh shit, dude. There's something to the like, yeah. Oh Lord have mercy. But it's like when extremely manly declamatory voice all of a sudden is like. Like
yeah.
It can go to that place. It's like, oh my god, like it's so special, and it's like, oh my god, it's like it's like he's got it all. And then when a woman can go like and like come down and just go boom in the chest, you're just like that. Whoa, yeah. It's like you want the man to be predominantly declamatory and strong throughout the piece. With his voice, depending on the character, obviously.
I was gonna say sometimes.
Yeah, with the tenor, it's maybe.
I was gonna say tenors get more. It's going up right now.
What is it? My hair?
Yeah.
But like, it's like exactly. Like tenors kind of have that like in between where it's like.
I would say that also probably has to do with the information, the subconscious. Perhaps information the composer is getting when they're listening to the timbre of a tenor voice, as opposed to a voice that is clearly more recognizable as speechy. It was like baritonal.
Yeah. When they hear, that's an interesting thing too, because like the notes. This is getting trippy. So the notes above the passaggio that a baritone has to sing are typically not as high above the passaggio as a tenor. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like for baritone, passaggio is like his secondo passaggio begins at like E flat or E.
Yeah.
He might only be expected to sing up to a G, A flat,
A if it's
A.
Peleos.
Like rarely. But then a tenor whose passaggio begins at like F sharp is expected to be able to sing a C. Which is it's a greater interval. It's a greater distance from there.
Right.
So it's like I think that because we have those higher, more ethereal notes up there that are this kind of created space that maybe has more in common with the soprano without is head voice feminine and chest voice masculine? Like who?
Well, based on like speech pattern, probably.
Right.
I mean, you can't tell right now in 2022 America when. I want an oat milk latte. Yeah, that's not very. But there's like a way that you can actually observe European men and women, for whatever reason, when they speak, it is like versus a more just like the natural placement of their voice.
Yeah.
With a low and healthily functioning larynx.
Yeah.
I feel like there is like you can tell the difference between I mean, you can still tell an American speech, but I guess what I mean is you can get a sense of the tonal quality difference more so when it's not the vocal fry kind of speaking. It's not a full on vocal fry.
No,
even if it's like if it's a hit actually, but that does inform our music and musical theater. Probably that.
Yeah,
it's like
maybe
this
is some sort of like Valley Girl like accent has swept the nation, because sometimes I'll find myself speaking that way too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, not only in my phonation, but also the cadence. And I have to stop myself, not because I'm like, oh, I don't want to sound like that necessarily. It's more of like a vocal health thing.
Yeah.
You just don't want to be like this all the time.
I think the reason the
It's
romantic...
not great. I do it sometimes. I do it.
But what you just said, though, I mean, just going back to the point I was making.
Sorry.
No. I was trying to find a better way to phrase that without sounding, but it just didn't come out right.
No, I hear you.
No, I mean, I think there's definitely something to be said about speech pattern in a given locale influencing a composer of music to write something that's like an exaggerated version of the speech pattern. So it's no surprise, again, I think that modern musical theater emerges from this New York City locale in particular. Very somewhat uniform speaking with men and women. Pretty harsh, I would say, all around.
Yeah.
And so, like, the harshness does transfer over into, like, a harsh sound. Whereas, I feel like the Romantic languages, particularly Spanish and Italian, like, they speak so beautifully and all in low laryngeal positions, men and women. And it's like, but even when they switch into English, like, Loriano is a perfect example of this. Like, he maintains the whole time.
Oh,
he
yeah.
speaks. And then, I'm trying to think of a Hispanic woman who I know, or an Italian lady. Oh, well, do you remember Carolina Lopez? She went to MSN. She was there actually the year after you were there. She was a really good soprano.
I don't remember.
She was like German, but I think her parents were from South America, perhaps. But when she spoke, it was very what you would expect to hear from a European, like the hooty quality.
Yeah.
Not put on, but like naturally occurring when it's like in a good position.
Yeah. You know, we're talking about low laryngeal linguistics. The Russians, oh my gosh, they speak, it is very low, and it's like you can hear this like depth in the voice. And actually, Byung talks about this too. When Byung speaks Korean, his voice drops like a minor third. It's so weird. When he speaks English, it's like, yeah, and then when he goes back down to Korean, it's like, boo. And like he's like, I feel like I sing better when I sing in Korean. And it's like, probably because you're like in a lower, more stable place.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, for whatever reason, the vowel sounds in our language, like, I mean, is a killer. I feel like itself changes everything.
Yeah, no, and it's one of the things that, like, a lot of American...
And diphthongs, by the way.
Yeah, and diphthongs. A lot of American singers, I feel like, for me, for example, like, I learned to sing my top with an A vowel, basically. Like,
the whole
Robin
thing or
Rice.
just the B and C?
It ended up that the B and C and, like, the extreme high was how I achieved... The A was how I kind of achieved that, and still sort of do that now. But like the notes in between, at first it was all kind of, it was like the Milnesian, like Robin Rice was my teacher.
Yeah.
Who he was the guy who like really got me up to my top. And it was just a lot of like either the auga, wow, like that, or it was Core Ingrato. It was like E non c'è piense più. Because it really, if you do it correctly and you have space behind it, like, you're gonna have, and that's a great vowel to use, I think, for American singers, especially, just, it gets the soft palate up.
Yeah.
I think gets the sound to go up and over. But, above that, yeah, and maybe, I don't know, I'd have to listen to more German people talk. 2/3 of our language is Germanic. We have so many cognates, so many of the same sounds in our language as they do.
There's still a warmer
But there's
quality.
a warmer quality. There's a loftier, warmer quality. Our language is really kind of just straight out.
Yeah, it's pretty harsh.
Yeah.
Pretty harsh.
Even back in the day, like in the is it transatlantic?
Yeah.
That kind of accent, that radio accent. You know, in the 50s, they all spoke like this, man.
Oh yeah.
They kind of.
Yeah.
And now, it's like really
appearing on the Ed Sullivan Show, star of the Metropolitan Opera.
Yeah.
Robert Merrill singing the Provenza from Verdi's tragic La Traviata.
Yeah. And it's like it's like that, yeah. It's like we've got that part of the equation down, I think, naturally, but it's maybe it's adding the space around it and the beauty around it and keeping that, you know.
Going to the batters box, number 2, Derek Jeter. Derek.
Have you seen Kung Pao?
No.
Oh my god. Now batting, Mike Piazza. That's like exaggerated, but you need to watch that movie. Anyway. I don't know where we're going with that.
We're relating everything back to the aesthetic of, writing for male and female singing and the subconscious element that might play a part in a composer shifting toward declamatory writing for men and more lyrical writing for women. But like you said, the kind of dramatic impact I highlighted by pointing out what happens in La Mamma Morta. It can happen in a reverse way, perhaps most for baritone, when the baritone starts to lilt.
Yeah.
Erutu is a good example, because that whole thing is like, I mean, at the middle section, though there's a line, it is still pretty. I mean, he's saying it, and then the last section is definitely a song.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very lyrical. It's also in Otello. Era la notte casi dormia. Yeah.
It used in a malicious way.
Yeah.
Giovanni,
too.
The whole thing is like, except for the serenade.
Yeah.
And the trio that, anytime he's serenading Zerlina in the duet in the start of the Act 1 finale, Act 2 trio with Elvira and Leporello, and the serenade itself. Other than that, he's pretty relatively declamatory, I would say.
Don Giovanni needs to be mostly declamatory, mostly manly, and then occasionally show that he has a soul, but not really.
That's why
he needs to act human sometimes.
I could be wrong about this, but my feeling about Giovanni is that unlike a Scarpia character, I've given this speech 100 times whenever I was introducing Wałęsa in North Dakota. But unlike a Scarpia character, where it's probably a psychopath.
Yeah.
Like probably born evil, which is an interesting thing to contemplate. Giovanni is like, and it comes out in the final scene where he says no, when basically God himself says, please repent. Giovanni pretty much makes the choice, I feel like. He's like, no, I pretty much see how the world is. And I think I'd rather make it my own than contribute in any kind of way. I think he's smart enough to have had that contemplation and decided internally.
Mm-hmm.
He, interestingly, in the opera, he doesn't really ever have an aside. So he's very much like at least to my memory, any aside he has is like action based. So I think there's a moment where, like Leporello and Elvira leave the stage, and he says, he just kind of observes the surroundings, like, okay, he literally says, now it's time to sing, and then does the serenade. Or then, like, after the serenade, he's still kind of alone. He's like, I hear people. So there's never, and then there's a couple of times where he gets angry and he's like, man, it seems like the devil's really out to get me today. And then someone else shows up. It's a comedic thing.
Right.
But he never has, like, a long, like, the way Leporello starts the show. Like, night and day, I'm here, and I just, man, I want to be the...
Yeah, I want that.
Yeah.
The I want aria.
Right. But I don't think Giovanni ever even has... There's, like, one recit where it's possible that he has an aside, but even then, I don't think so. In the Italian, at least.
Mm-hmm.
But he comes out, like, also in the graveyard. He starts off... Thank you for indulging my Giovanni.
Nice,
He comes out in the graveyard scene. He's like, questo è buono, lasciala cercare. He's like, pretty much until Leporello shows up, he's kind of like, man, what a beautiful night. What time it is? What time is it?
Yeah.
It's like 2 a.m. Man, it's a great night to go after women. And then he's like, oh, wait, I wonder how the thing went with Leporello and Elvira. Well, if he stayed cool about it, and then Leporello comes in. I'm pretty sure that's the whole moment he has alone by himself.
Yeah.
And then there's some stuff in the finale when everyone's there, you can kind of get a glimpse, which is like, wow, is he about to give a middle finger to, like, God and death? It's like, oh, wow. Well, what kind of person does that? Holy shit.
The guy who's very good with women somehow.
Yeah.
No.
He's, like, super capable.
Super capable.
And he just says no to being a decent. Yeah, that's an interesting kind of character, I think.
Yeah.
And also when you look in on yourself too, you think about, like, even if it's not the whole ethic, even if there are moments where it's like, I'm going to do this for myself and no one else, even when the no one else thing is obviously the right choice, it's like, all right, expand that out across the whole life. I kind of feel like that is Giovanni in a certain way.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to, I don't know. This is a rant. This is a ramble. We can talk about whatever.
It kind of is. It really kind of is. Do
you know what pisses me off? Today?
What pissed you off today? This is a video diary. It's an episode, but it's actually a mental episode that we're going through.
Yeah.
Welcome.
I think I don't know, dude. Like, I
think
think
video diary.
it's good that we have. I think you're gonna have to, like, keep me in line, because, like, I kind of just want to do like discussion videos.
What do you mean?
Or just talk randomly about shit. But I know that there are ones where we need to be like, sit down and be like, look, if you want to do a lat pull down, you have to, like, try. You have to make an effort to look athletic, at least. And please don't pull it past. Don't pull it past your nipples. Just keep that as a general rule. Don't
That is a
pull it
good
past
rule.
There.
That is a good rule.
Yeah, and it
Don't
should
pull it past.
touch-
I'll say that.
It should probably, if it's a straight bar, it should touch you.
Yeah.
The bar should touch you, and it shouldn't go past your nips.
Yeah. If it's a straight bar, if it's curled, then it doesn't like.
Right.
If it's,
Yeah. Right.
Oh, that's one thing actually, dude.
Wait, can I go on what I'm pissed off about?
Go, yeah, please, go ahead.
What's the note?
No, I was
You're
just-
gonna go on, but wait, we'll come back to it. You know how I
Okay.
can't- you know how
Go, but don't.
You
Wait,
know-
let's not.
do something, but don't do anything. No, you got. You remember how I was like, the bike downstairs got replaced?
Yeah.
I was wrong. I forgot how the Lifetime Fitness bikes at that gym value RPM over level.
Yes.
So I was riding at like 97, 98 on 14, 15. I was like, and that's why I was like, did these get replaced? Because this is like
It's
not easy.
It's harder on the downstairs than the upstairs bike.
Okay.
They are both Life Fitness bikes, but the one upstairs is either an older or a newer model.
Okay.
The one downstairs. They're like just different enough because 14 and 15 on the upstairs bike feels like yippee. On 14, 15 downstairs is like, oh gosh.
No, I was like screaming now.
I know.
And I registered a, what was it? I think 1777.
Yeah, it's exactly right.
Which for us is a terrible ride.
Yeah.
It's like post leg day if it was like a Tom Platzian every single muscle like I will have needed to have 4 sets of 10 to 15 rep squats, maxed out failure quads, maxed out failure hamstrings, calves, and lunges, and then I expect a 1777. But on any other day, it should be 18.5 and above. That's my opinion.
No, I'm not saying if I'm not getting at least 18 miles on the bike, 45 minutes, then I'm in a deficit or I just lifted like a madman.
So today I go upstairs and I'm like doing 97, 98. I'm like, these numbers are not doing anything. Like, am I dying? And then I cranked it up to what I remember. I was like, oh, maybe it's that. And it way overvalues RPM. Because I can be going 97, 98 on level 15. It thinks I'm basically not trying. I can go 103 on level 13, and it's almost the same effect. But
yes,
in real life, when you're out on a bike, that is not what happens.
No, on the bike upstairs, there's no point going past 13 in terms of mileage, because even if you do the same amount of effort on level 14, it doesn't change. And also, if you do go all out on that bike, it has a governor, and it'll overspin. Yes. The one downstairs doesn't. All my PRs were on the downstairs bike because that one is the only one that can like withstand it. You know what I'm saying? Because it won't go into that ultra spinny place. The only bike that actually works at the gym is the downstairs death cornered awful bike in the shadows. It's the only one that works. So all the other ones, they don't mean anything.
Yeah.
I thought you knew that. I
just forgot. I think
because your PRs were always on that one. Yeah, that's the PR bike.
They were.
So
I did hit a COVID 1981 upstairs though.
That's really impressive. Nah. Oh my god. I had meningitis and COVID. It was the worst week of my life. And I had to sing an opera. And I had to sing that one-act opera. Remember? I told you it was like leaking orange fluid out of my face?
Yeah.
That was tough.
Wait, did we have meningitis instead? COVID?
Did you leak orange fluid out of your nose?
No.
Was it like watery orange fluid?
No.
Okay. My theory is that due to multiple COVID tests that came back negative, even though my friends in Boston, we did a Phigenia, all got COVID. I think that literally, this is coming from a non-doctor.
Here we go. Oh, there's plenty of those who are offering their opinion anyway. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Well, I think that the COVID tests literally pushed whatever COVID virus or thing I had here up into my meninges, up into my brain, and inflamed my meninges. And then I got viral meningitis. Because if I had bacterial, I'd be dead. But I'm not dead. It was viral because I did not go to the doctor. I was like, you know what the doctor is? 45 minutes on the bike. That's the doctor. I literally, with my quads, defeated meningitis. It was viral. If it was bacterial, I waited 5 days, and I was like, okay, I'm feeling better, so that means it's viral.
That's awesome. I hope
that's real science, by the way.
I hope it's true. No, I hope it actually is true. That would be so much cooler than you just getting like sick. Be like, no, I tried to do the right thing, and they like inflame my brain.
Dude, they got in my brain, man. They inflamed they tried to kill me with these COVID tests that came back negative. That was the only way I was able to do the opera thing I was in. Was a workshop. I was only able to do it because I had 2 tests saying I was negative, even though I felt like I was dying. It was like, man, oh, so hard. Anyway,
what was the point you were gonna make before I went into the bike?
We were talking about lat pull downs and like bad form you see in the gym, and I just got a job as a trainer at Crunch.
Woo.
And it's fun when you're actually training people. It's
Right.
like the best. So when you get a good client and you push them to their limits, or you teach them something they haven't done before, and they like it, and it's so fulfilling. It's like watching your kid ride a bike. It's, I mean, maybe not that great, but so like there are these people that were doing overhead press, barbell overhead press, a not so simple and also kind of risky exercise. Yeah. And I mean, the elbows, the hands were out here, going down here. And I was like, I don't like giving people unsolicited advice, but it's like, I am morally obligated to tell them to freaking bring their hands in, because it was like, y'all, if you put, luckily they're just using the bar. But it was like this nice couple. And I was like, listen, y'all, if you put any weight in this bar and lift like that, you're going to hurt your shoulder. You got to, this is a perfectly safe exercise. You just need to bring your hands in, maybe a little rock forward on the way up.
Yes. Definitely.
But just please don't do this, because it was like, with 45 pounds, but if anything was in that bar. Yeah. Anyway, because who doesn't have shoulder problems, let's be honest. But,
especially if you're in the gym, definitely it starts to get to you.
Yeah, it's the most vulnerable joint in the body. But so just art songs. Art songs, man. Yeah, you can't really, unless you have a certain kind of voice.
Art song?
God. Fidele by Duparc is pretty amazing.
Okay.
Fidele.
How do you spell that?
PHDYLE with an X on the U. I think Fidele.
Oh.
Did I spell it right? Yeah. Oh no, I spelled it wrong. What a moron. I was a spelling bee champion too.
What grade was that?
4th grade.
Still,
State.
That's like the period where they start making their national push. Do I know this song? This is Jessie Norman speaking, which there she is. Yeah, this fits her well. I don't know if I know the song well enough.
Oh my gosh, dude, Fidele is. I like Cecilia by Strauss. It's so freaking exciting. The Heimliche Aufforderung by Strauss. Oh my god. Kaufmann just destroys it. It's amazing. God, there's so many, but like I would say my favorite art songs tend to be the French ones. I don't know why, but like Debussy, Duparc, Fauré, I'd say that's probably where like my favorite art song is French stuff.
I
don't know why.
It's definitely I mean,
maybe not always sing, but to listen to like it's beautiful. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, Han, L'Enamoré.
Okay.
A Cloris.
I think he wrote Lyric Skis too.
Lyric Skis, yeah.
I think that's Han.
I think.
We used to have a bunch of sopranos in my undergrad sing that. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's a really beautiful piece.
Yeah, the French stuff is now. I also love Winterreise and I love Die Milnes.
The French stuff is another. It's very rich.
Yeah,
and it's
really buttery and layered, like a croissant.
I wish I had thought of that. God damn it!
It is.
That was awesome.
French music is like
a
croissant.
A croissant.
Croissant.
It is delicious like a cigarette on a Sunday morning with my cup of coffee and my croissant.
Croissant. Café. No, it's
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
it's so good. It's just I think that's my favorite out of all the art songs. And I love the Neapolitan paint scrapers just as much as anybody. You can't not love good pasta, but sometimes a croissant is what you need.
A buttery croissant.
That's what you need, man. It's a tea and a croissant.
I'm always going to be a Schubert guy.
Dude,
I'm always going to be a Schubert guy.
He's the greatest.
I
think he's. I mean,
what's this damn thing called?
It's hard to come up with a better art song composer.
Kronos, Schubert. What's it called?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Oh my god.
Yes, I know this one.
Oh, this will be a quick one. This is Gurna. This is going to be it.
Fresh direct. The obsession is real.
You need to get premium, dude. Goodness gracious.
I think and then a total color change. Here we go. Oh. Another color change.
How do you do that? How do you do that?
I think in the same way that people are like, how do you do that when you do like a Bells a Cry? It's part of the inherent things that make you a singer.
Yeah, maybe.
Back to it's Gurna.
I think I'm gonna link that.
Yeah.
Oh, I got some ideas.
Got some ideas. Hey, listen.
I'm gonna put this in here, but.
It's so good. Oh. And the piano part is like...
it's anabolic, yeah. Okay, that was...
It's so good.
Thank you for sharing that. That was awesome.
I was so into it, and I selfishly wanted to listen to it in that moment.
No. Okay. This is another acid trip. But here we go. So... We've talked about how strength is actually maybe not on this channel, but when John was just here, and we were talking about how he can leg extend
185.
way more than I can, but he
Yeah.
can't squat like I can because he doesn't train squats.
Right.
Strength is specific.
Right.
Singing strength is specific.
Yeah. You're probably right.
I think you and I, if we took like I bet in one mesocycle or a macrocycle of training our voices, we could probably accomplish something similar to what, maybe not to the level that Matthias is, because he's a master.
And his quality too.
Yeah, there's something inherent about his voice that
His voice becomes more instrumental, I would say, the declamatory thing, which
Yeah.
might set an art song singer apart as a man. Is like,
yeah,
yes. Did we already say that though?
sort of, but not in this,
color
not
of
in
the
this
sound,
way.
like the Pry, Thomas Allen, Gurna, Von Damme, like.
But right, and that, like, to some degree there are qualities about your voice that are innate, and no amount of what a teacher can do to you can really change that.
Right.
But to what degree that exists is up for debate, and is sort of like depends on the teacher and student. But like, I think with a certain, it's like almost like if we took like a deload, like active rest phase for our voices and did art song and really focused on like having these like really big dynamic shifts and not being like, okay, our dynamics are like forte, fortissimo, and occasional mezzo piano. Because that's kind of what opera is. I mean, sorry, opera is basically like, it's theatrical singing.
You have to sing it over an orchestra.
You have to sing over an orchestra in a large house. It is theatrical. It's like the difference between, it's like, if your strength is specific, it's like, maybe that is more of an, like, maybe that, it's a different sport almost.
Yes. Dude, those are words that my father uttered.
Of course, because your dad knows what the fuck he is doing and had a whole career. Like, of course, your dad rocks. But like, yeah, no, it's a different sport.
Yes. I'm just gonna support everything you just said. It was very good. I don't know if I have anything else to offer. I just thought of more of an art song aesthetic that I like, which is like, sometimes Americans really get it right, and I would say Sure and The Shining Knight is one of the best examples. Oh, another video that is must-see viewing because she's not famous, as famous as she should be. Her name's Marjorie Owens. I heard her do Donna.
Marjorie, that's my mother's name. It's a good Scottish name.
It's a good Scottish name, but she's American, this one. And it's in this like awesome setting too. We'll link this.
Marjorie Owens.
I don't
this
want to
is
get premium.
that's
I don't wanna
shitty
get
singing.
premium.
You should. I don't want to ever hear that again.
But like, check out the setting where she sings this. I don't know where it is. Oh. And American poetry can get really, I don't know, dude, it's like dreamy. It's one of the more dreamy languages for some strange reason, I find. Alright, in this era of English writing, we'll link the whole thing so I'm not speaking over it. man.
Dude.
That was
Dude, that's
Eitan Pessin. That's a unique name. Eitan Pessin playing the piano.
oh.
Very well, I'll add.
Yeah, it's. You know what, man? Like, that was fucking incredible. And
The
Marjorie Owens, but like, dude, it's. Sorry, say what you're gonna say. I'm gonna say it.
The Americans get something right in their writing, which is there's a huge incorporation of like the like American folk melody into our art songs.
Yeah.
And the warmth of those melodies is like very present, I would say, in the accompaniment writing as well. I mean, Shenandoah's a unique piece because that's almost not an art song. In fact, it probably isn't an art song. It's probably just an American
Folk tune
derived from an Irish drinking song or something, or an Irish ballad or something.
Yeah.
But it's special and like all the stuff that Copland. There's such a warmth to Copland's best American art songs. It can be different than that too. But I think that's the most special quality about our art songs. And then the poetry is, I don't know, but I'm not fluent enough in other languages to know how ethereal a given language can get. But something like Shore in the Shining Night or Luke Havergal by John Duke, or I'm trying to think of another good example.
Yeah, I don't really know a lot of American song literature.
I like how it doesn't get sometimes too.
Should.
I like how the ideas and the sounds can get kind of heady, but I like how the words don't become. Like sometimes I feel like Britten fell into a trap. Just in general, I don't know enough about his art songs, but sometimes I feel like he fell into a trap of letting the most cerebral part of him come out, or maybe it was the text he was choosing. I actually don't know.
Right.
But it's like sometimes you hear in Billy Budd or Grimes, and I can't think of a specific example, like the great band player.
Dude.
Yeah, that's a little odd, huh?
Yeah, but it kind of supposed to be in that moment, so it works.
That one is, yeah, sure.
So that wasn't a good example.
But there are a couple of like back and forth exchanges that are like, whoa, that was like too, and it gets really
gobbledygook. What's
the word? It's like I'm listening to rhetoric. I'm not listening.
Oh yeah. That's
if it can get heady, like the Great Bear, whatever. I think that's fine, probably, because then you're now like shifting away from language as the centerpiece of communication to like sound and emotion.
Right.
Exactly. But if you like go the language route in a medium where it's like I feel like the car crashes when you leave music and singing behind. But I can't think of anything specific. But there's something that sticks out in my. I just know that that's the impression that sometimes I get when I listen to the Britten things, though not all of them, by no stretch.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like, and like for composers nowadays, it's like it's one thing to remember. It's like it's
definitely
it's
not
a
an opera.
it's a
It's a fucking joke.
a lot. I mean, yeah, every now and then, it's like you get composers that really hit the nail on the head.
Heggie can nail it.
Heggie, Picker. I think
Emmeline is sweet.
Emmeline's fucking awesome. It's hard. Oh man, it's hard. And the composer Lisa Despain that I did that show with when I was very sick. That she writes good stuff. But I mean, and I don't want to like point fingers at modern composers, but yeah, it's like it's that thing to remember. It's like like it's a communicative art form, so the text has to be relatable to some degree.
And if it's not, you have to let the music take over.
Yes, and that's the thing that like Yeah, it's
But it's hard though, because you want the composer to be writing out of that revelatory, half subconscious thing.
yeah,
So like there shouldn't be necessarily a rubric that they have to filter their creative process through. But if they're great and prolific, I think it means you can throw some of the crap out.
yeah. That's like something that, well, there's better authors than Frank Herbert, but I've read a lot of Frank Herbert, so he talks about how much he has to pare down his books, and that's crazy because his books are super long. All the Dune books are really long. Like it's like, but that's the thing, to get the message across, you have to edit like maybe like a 3-to-1 ratio of what you actually wrote down, and that's hard. I think as an author, as any creative person,
Yeah.
and as composers of modern operas, like it's got to be really Ricky and Gordon. I forgot to talk about him too. But like, there's like, yeah, and as singers too, it's like you want the music to be. It doesn't have to necessarily be easy, but it needs to have some. It needs to be singable and in a beautiful way.
What was Ashley's famous statement?
Oh,
One of the greatest things I've ever
Ashley
heard.
LeVar. Oh my God, she's the best. Oh,
What did she say?
She was like, "Oh, it's just like I don't know why like you had to fit all of this text into one bar." So I'm going like, she was like. What do you think? 1 and a 2 and a 3 and 4 and a 5 and a 6. Like counting all like.
Yeah, she did that. But it was like,
I know, but
she's like, yeah, oh man, I can never
what,
say it. The way
what she said
it.
was so brilliant. It was like the amount of work that she had to do to learn that one line
Right.
that you just kind of threw on the page. I've spent hours on 2 pages of music before.
Yeah.
That was a modern composer. Sometimes it was worth it. Like I spent like 2 hours on like 3 pages of couches for the Iphigenia. It was hard, but it made me a better musician. I tell you what. But it was also like, you just kind of put this on here, and I had to, how hard this is, But there was also I forgot what other modern show I did. I've done a lot of modern most of my resume is modern opera. Oh, Rev 23. Oh my God. Some of the rhythms in Rev 23 were literally like, I think there was like, oh, there's 7 words in this bar. Okay. Let me, they're all 16th notes. It's a septuplet. Sing an offbeat septuplet. I'm not a particularly good musician as a singer, and my rhythm's not great. You want me to sing an opera singer to sing an offbeat septuplet? It's like, you be lucky if I sing anything in time, okay? You know what I mean? Like, opera singers need line, they need length, and it's like, no.
Dude, I don't even know if it's opera singers. I think it's the opera art form. You need to be able to go rawr for like a while.
We gotta think it's like a physics thing. It's like you have to sing for a certain amount of time on a certain sustained line so that people can hear and understand what you're saying.
Right.
So even if your diction is really good, some of that really fast rhythmics, I mean, yeah, patter is a thing.
Well, even in patter, like no one actually knows what's being said.
Right.
Except for like the fact that the benefit is when the composer repeats a text that you just kind of sang.
Yeah.
Like the whole first section of the Leporello is like the second time around where it's like it's like he already just said that.
But that's the thing. That's why patter is inherently funny, because it
Right.
goes against
what it should be.
what it should.
Right. It's like it denobilizes a noble sound.
Yeah, it's supposed
And
to
a
be
musical sound.
odd and funny.
Right, it
It's
becomes-
not supposed to be a normal thing that's all throughout the opera,
It
unless
becomes-
it's a comedy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, so you get some of these modern roles, and it's like, this is not a line. This is just like, what is going on? But I mean, you know.
Sometimes also, I feel like when, I'm going to use a specific example of something that I know. When modern opera tries to go, like, verismo in subject matter, and like with kind of a very musically mature sound, but with like dumbed down text, it can accidentally be comedic. So like,
dude, that's so, yes,
but
it's weird.
But I had to do the confession aria from Dead Man Walking, which goes like this: we've been drinking and smoking weed at the roadhouse. Like, oh, dude, that is funny. Like, I'm sorry, it's just funny. It's like, this is an opera, man.
Yeah.
And it's like, and the way it's said, it's like, we da 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 da. It's like, he's like losing, he's like, his soul is coming out, and I'm like, I can't do this.
Right? Dude, no, it's so true. And it's sometimes like...
Now, the rest of that aria, JK, in case you're listening to the Anabolic Opera Bros, is pretty good. But like that opening line,
we're
is like,
huge
oh,
fans.
man.
Actually. Like, Dead Man Walking rocks. 3 Decembers rocks. Moby Dick rocks. Dude, with it, there's a part in 3 Decembers, it's actually supposed to be funny, when they're in San Francisco. And, oh, I forgot. There's only 3 characters, I forgot their names. But the baritone goes, it's like, it's fucking cold. It's amazing. But it's like, it is fucking cold. It's like
dude,
December in San Francisco.
I feel like something about the English language, though, it makes it like, it makes us stupid as opera. Like, it's fucking cold. But I feel like did it in Italian, somehow it's already better. Like,
I think
it's
yeah.
like already opera. Like, the language is already opera.
I know, it's a weird thing, like, because like, if you take the same text, or like even a translation into English, and like a hyper romantic moment,
yeah,
it just, man, in English it sounds like ass. Maybe because it's not a romantic language. Back to you, Zach. No. If it is not come from Rome, it is not a romantic.
It's Gregoro, okay? Get it right.
Get it right. Man. No. Oh, man. Oh, gosh. I can't wait. Yeah.
Can we cut this off now?
Yeah.
Let's make some bars.
I'm losing my mind. He's losing his mind.
This was awesome. I want to do more like this. I had a good time.
Do we have... Is pre-workout causing some sort of degenerative, like, brain-eating disorder?
Yes.
Are we getting dumber?
And the oncoming existential crisis of realizing that there's at least 6 years left before we can sing what we're supposed to sing.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that next time.
Next time we'll talk about cartilage in your throat.